Hi, I'm B. Come along with me and let's talk about oh, something that's just been on my mind lately is how easy it is for people to discount Jesus and think about Jesus based upon what they know about religion, what they've been told about Jesus, what they've been told about religion, what um, society believes about the Bible, and all these types of things. Um, this might be a little bit bigger topic for me. It might be a longer video. I might even need to come back. But maybe this will be like I don't know, like a preview, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not really, you know, I don't have a studio or, um, fancy anything. So we're just here to chat and talk. And so, bear with me as I make these videos, and I hope that you find them interesting and appealing to you. And that's really what I'm not really interested in creating videos that are for um, the algorithm, or worrying about anything of that nature. I'm just here to talk about things that I find interesting, or things that I'm thinking about that I want to share with others who may also be interested in thinking about them or talking about them, or you know maybe haven't ever thought about them but are intrigued by the idea. So if that's you, welcome to this space, and let's talk about it. Why do people think that um, you know why do people think that Jesus is intolerant, right? Or God, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah, Yod He Vav He, El Elohim, um, El Elyon is Adonai, Abba Father. Why do people think that he's a punitive God, right? Certainly, when we read the Bible without an eye to understand it, we can get that impression. When we look at the Bible and we read the Bible, just solely based on the literal definition, the surface level definition of the English words, and we ground it in the culture of today, that's where we're going to be led to believe. And then when we look at history and we look at what has been done in the name of Jesus and in the name of the Lord, and all of the wars and the destruction and the torture and conquest, that seems to back it up. And nothing could make the enemy, the devil, the enemy of our souls, happier. So the word devil just means divider. The word Satan means adversary or accuser. And so that's all that means. That just means that there are dark forces at work. There is good and there is evil, and that is clear. And anyone who's living in this day and age should be able to discern that pretty readily, that there's good and evil. And the dark forces, the dark principalities that run the powers that be, right, that run our countries and the globalist agenda that oppress the people in all the nations, that endeavor to keep the poor poor and the rich rich, and, they certainly serve and idolize what has become their God. And that is definitely has the root of evil. And that is, and there is actually a being in the Bible. Hillel ben Shahar is the original name for him. And, he is a fallen being that rebelled against the Lord, was jealous of mankind, jealous of the God's plan to make mankind, and decided to rebel against the Lord who created him, and made this whole mess that we're all in. We're all in this mess. And it's so easy to get these twisted ideas about what Judaism is, what Christianity is. And most people don't even connect Judaism and Christianity. And in fact, many Christians don't connect the two, even though Jesus was a Jew. And his lineage goes all the way back. It is traced. It is in the Bible. You can read it and trace it yourself. And you can do the math if you want to. It's very easy to trace back, and it's right there. And not only that, but Jesus is not one of, but probably the most verified human on the planet. The one person on the planet who has been verified more than any other, historically speaking. He walked on this earth. And there are others that are in the Bible that are spoken of that also have been historically verified. And in non-religious, non-biblical texts and histories and accountings. And so it's not completely self-referential. There's outside of that. There is mention, and in fact, by people who are the enemy of the Israelites, of the Jews, people who were diametrically opposed to them, actually wrote about various Israelite kings, and also of Jesus. And there's even some ancient graffiti. The first known graffiti is a depiction of Jesus on the cross, and references him with the head of a donkey, which, on Palm Sunday, so the week before he was crucified, he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. So it was like the beginning of Passover. He rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, and that was a fulfillment of a prophecy from hundreds and hundreds of years before. And that's one of the first graffitis ever depicted. And it's very interesting to me that people want to deny this reality, this truth, when it's so verifiable. And there's many, many ways to go about verifying this. Any approach you take, you can look at language, you can look at history, you can look at archaeology, you can look at science, you can look at quantum physics, and every single one of these explorations is going to lead you to Jesus, crucified, died, and risen. Every single one of them is going to lead to that. Every single one of them is you're going to be able to cross-reference and verify the truth, the veracity that Jesus is the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And you know, even this idea that, you know, like, for example, people will say, well, Buddha was 500 years before Jesus. Okay, well, that might be so. The Jesus that we know that walked the earth, that most people think of as Jesus. However, Jesus is the Word. Jesus is the Word, and the Word created. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word is what created creation, what brought all things into being. That was the Word. And the first reference to that is at the very beginning of Genesis, which I'm not quite sure when Genesis was written, but it was written obviously long after Genesis happened. But the truth is that Jesus is God. And his name, Yod-He-Vav-He. Yod-He-Vav-He, behold nail, behold hand. That's the Proto-Hebraic depiction, pictographic writing of the name of God. Behold nail, behold hand. So the nail, it is pointing to the crucifixion. And in fact, the entire Old Testament is all pointing to the crucifixion. Everything in the Bible is about Jesus. Everything is about Jesus. Old Testament, New Testament, and including what we like to call the hidden teachings, which there aren't too many hidden teachings. There are some hidden teachings. But when you have the eyes to see, you can see it anywhere. And the entire Bible, regardless of whether or not things have been taken out, removed, added in, whatever, no matter what, when you look at it, when you look deeply enough, you are going to find the truth. So Buddha might have walked on the earth 500 years before Jesus walked on the earth, but Jesus is the creator of the earth. And that happened many thousands of years before Buddha was born, or before any other religion was born. And I think I've done a video on this. I know I have a video about kind of time and the accounting of time and how do we account for certain things. And I think it's really fascinating to consider that for the Lord, 1,000 years is a day and a day is 1,000 years. And then when we also consider how the ancient Hebrews accounted for time, that a day was from sunset to sundown, sunset to sun up, and then from sun up to sundown. And when we do the math on that and we count for leap years, we arrive at the same number that our scientists overwhelmingly tell us the Earth is, which is 4.5 billion years old, give or take 50 million years old. And so however we want to do that is, we're going to arrive at the same thing. So all of the earth, all of creation testifies of the goodness of God. All of the earth. I'm going to come back because I don't have enough time to really dig into this one, but I'm just going to invite you to consider these things. I'm just sort of introducing this topic. I will come in at some point and I will dig in deeper. I will give more detail. I will pick things apart as I'm able. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I really want to talk more about because I have studied world religions. I have read many books, religious texts, and studied many mythologies, world mythologies. You know, I was really deep into that. I've done many different practices, and there is some truth to things, and then there are ways in which things got skewed, but all of it is testified of in the Bible and can be found biblically. and and the devil will hijack and counterfeit anything to make his narrative seem like the truth. So the movie The Matrix is not far off, y'all. It is not far off. So, but I'll come back. I'm going to do that. I want to do that and dig into some of those topics. If there is one in particular that you really want me to lean into or to begin with or to do next, please do add that in the comments. I would love to hear from you and know what it is that you're thinking or curious about. Maybe even some of the things that you might feel protective of or defensive of. I would love, this is a place for conversation. This is a place for us to have taboo conversations, off limits conversations. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it, because you know, people perish for the lack of knowledge. So let's get into that. All right? Okay, until next time.